Hi, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and we're about to get started with today's core and stretch class. I recommend having some lighter weights. I'm going to pull some 5 pounders out and just have them nearby, but you do not have to use weights for today's workout. We're going to get started standing. Make sure you have some water nearby. I'll go grab mine. If you want to put on some music, whatever it takes for you to feel your ultimate best and just keep going. We're going to get started standing. I cannot remember if I said that. Uh, now, so let's do this, everyone. All right, so standing at the top of the mat, you can even uh, face the top of your mat, whatever direction that is. Go ahead and start to firmly press your feet into the floor, and then maybe turn around and bribe your bird and give her a couple peanuts because she's being a little loud. All right. If you didn't have to bribe your bird, then you still just have your feet planted down on the floor. Take a moment to really ground through all of your feet. So maybe we even bring a little bit of weight to our heels and then to the outer edge of the foot and then to the inner edge of the foot and then the toes. And you can start with your knees a little bit bent. Maybe you bend and then straighten your legs to really think about pressing through all parts of the feet at one time. All right. Take a gander down. Are your heels in line with your toes? Did your feet turn out at all? Can you bring your heels back in line with your toes? And then press through your heels. Okay, we're going to move up the body a little bit. So if there's a slight bend in your knees, that is okay. Or you can work to try and straighten those legs. But wherever you're out, make sure your glutes aren't stretching towards the back of the room. So even with knees bent, you can pull your hips forward. It's already going to open up your chest a little bit. Stretch your fingers down towards the floor and even turn your hands palms forward towards the wall in front of you for a little bit more opening of the chest and upper back. Stretch up through the crown of your head. Start to draw your core in a little bit more, so some engagement on the front side of the body, and inhale your arms up overhead. Reach up from the waist, not just shoulders coming towards ears, and exhale, arms come down by your side. Take the full length of your breath to find this movement as slow as you possibly can. At the bottom, lungs are empty. Inhale, palms forward, arms come up. Exhale, palms face the floor and come down. We're going for about a 5-second count. Let's do this next one together. Palms forward, inhale up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Two more. Inhale up, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale down, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more, still pressing through your heels, a little squeeze of the glutes, a little push of hips forward, big lift of the chest, stretch up from the waist, lungs full. Exhale, arms down by your side, and then just relax with those arms down by your side, stretching your fingers down towards the floor in a nice mountain pose. One more time, let's inhale, arms up overhead. Draw your core in. Exhale, we're going to hinge forward at the hips and bring ourselves down towards the floor. Knees can still be bent. We're warming up that back still. So inhale, come into a half lift. Hands can come to the thighs or maybe the shins or stay on the floor. Find that flat back. Really stretch your glutes to the back wall. A little bit of separation. Then exhale, hands come down towards the floor. Maybe you have to bring your hands a little bit further in front of you. You can shift a little bit more weight into your toes. That's a great idea because if you had a lot of weight in your heels, your hips are probably starting to shift towards the back of the room. And if you bring a little bit more weight into your toes to really ground equally through the feet, hips are going to stack more on top of heels. Take a moment right here. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Go ahead, heel toe your feet out a little bit wider. So heels come out, toes come out, heels come out, toes come out. Maybe mats width distance apart or even wider than that if it feels good. And keep that weight shifted a little bit forward. Make sure you feel some pressure in the balls of the feet. Keep your left hand down on the floor, right underneath of your chest, and inhale, left arm up. Sorry, right arm up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're not sinking into that left shoulder. Can you straighten your left arm? Really try and touch the ceiling. Stack two shoulders on top of each other, all five fingers touching each other. The back of your right hand is touching an imaginary wall behind you. One more inhale. Exhale, bring your right hand back down towards the floor. You can bend your knees for a second, maybe bend and then straighten your legs a little bit. Just warming up that lower half of the body a little bit. It's the middle of the week. I can tell you all about it. We've got the juice. Keep your right hand down and stretch your left arm up towards the ceiling. Oh my gosh, everyone, that pop culture song, It's Corn. Oh, what a banger. Totally stuck in my head. Keep pressing into that right hand on the floor. This time, left hand back of the fingertips are touching an imaginary wall. One more big inhale, reach up, touch up, and then exhale, left hand comes down towards the floor. Go ahead, bring both knees down towards the floor. Give yourself a couple cat cows. Maybe you take a nice little stretch on your wrists here. Take a moment or two with your breath to find the motions that feel right or fun for you today. And then we're going to sink hips back towards your heels for a gentle little child's pose before we start planking. So relax your head down towards the floor. You can stretch your hands as far forward as feels good for you. If you want more in your shoulders, remember you can tent your fingers. If you want less in the shoulders, remember you can generously bend your arm. Come back to your breath. Be as relaxed as possible. All right, sit yourself up. Make a couple circles with your wrist in one direction. Make a couple circles with your wrist in the opposite direction. Maybe open and close your fist. Let's get to it. So first up, we've got some planks. Up to you. Straight arm plank, forearm plank, one of each, because we're going to do each of these strength moves twice. If you need to take an extra break, take an extra break. And jump back into the move as soon as you can. See if you can take just a breath during your break. Try to avoid like reaching for water, reaching for something else, because frequently when we're exercising and things get hard and we get tired, it's so easy to mentally be like, oh, you know what? I need to take a break because I'm thirsty. Are you really thirsty? And if so, can you drink a little bit more water before and after class? We got 30 minutes together. I love you. I say this because I love you. And I want you to push yourself here. So let's do our best to try and avoid those excuses. If you need a quick sip of water, by all means, take that quick sip of water if you really need it. All right. So our first plank is coming up in 3, 2, 1. You can do this plank on your knees in a checkpoint. You can do this plank on your toes. Maybe you're just practicing setting up for this plank form and doing some of these modified planks like we've done before, just working to engage through your glute, engage through your chest. If you can be here in the plank, we're already halfway through. Instead of putting your knees down to the floor, if you need a break, can you press up and back for a second to just relax through the shoulders and then shift the weight back forward? Eye gaze forward, keep your belly pulled in, keep your glutes squeezed, keep your back working, and take a break. Awesome. First 20-second break. We got one more plank. And then we got some three-legged dog coming up. So if you want to give your wrists a break, now's a great time to try a forearm plank. You can always do your three-legged dog on your forearms too. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So we're coming into a plank. We're trying not to be in down dog. So if you notice that your hips are up towards the ceiling, if you're looking towards your toes, shift the weight forward. Look at your fingers or gently before your fingers so that your armpits are stacked on top of your shoulders. And if you notice you're seeing your armpits or your wrists again, unless you're intentionally taking that break, keep shifting forward. If you're feeling unstable, you can open your feet up a little bit wider. We are almost there. I know you can keep it up for 3, 2, 1. Take your break. Great. Next up, we got 3-legged dog to a mountain climber. So starting in your down dog, lifting one leg up, we're going to shift the weight forward and bring that elbow towards the knee. You can do the same thing from your forearms if you need to. Ready? Here we go. So you're in down dog or a modified down dog. Lift one leg up nice and high. Keep your hips squared towards the mat. And then shift the weight forward, a little rounding in the upper back. Elbow comes towards knee. And you can change where your knee goes each time. So maybe next it comes to your nose. And then back up towards the ceiling. And then maybe next time it comes towards the opposite elbow. And then back up towards the ceiling. Just about 10 seconds left. We're only going to do each leg one time. Awesome. Take your break. You can take your break in down dog if you want, or you can come back down towards the floor. Maybe you even treat yourself to some child's pose. Oh, that feels nice. Or some wrist circles or shakes. Let's set ourselves back up. We start in 3, 2, 1. Great. So now the opposite leg lifts up. Take a moment. Chest is still squared down towards the floor. Hips are squared towards the floor. And then elbow to knee. Shifting the weight forward. Really shifting shoulders forward, just like we did the last time in those planks. Remember, option to shift where your knee is going. I'm going to knee to nose, working towards the elbow. Feel a little tight this morning, and that's okay because we're here, and that's what matters. We're moving. You did it. Take a break. All right. Next up, we get to turn over onto our backs. We got an isometric hold. So just working to really glue lower back down into the floor. We're going to press onto the knees. Your legs may lift a little. Let's do it. But make sure that lower back stays down on the floor. I'm pushing my hands palms into the thigh region. Knees is, I didn't really mean knees. And I'm also pushing my thighs against my hands. So there's an equal opposite contraction. And the more that I really press, the more that I feel lower back pressing down towards the floor and abs firing up. Now, if you're new to this, holding for 40 seconds might not work for you. So maybe every exhale, push, 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 push. And every inhale, you could always take a nice little release. Otherwise, take a break. Otherwise, for this next round, try and hold that contraction for a little bit longer. Maybe you hold it for 2 breaths before you release your hands to take a break for a second. All right. Lower back glued down to the floor. Lift those legs back up into tabletop. Hands to thighs. Here we go. So that exhale, you're really pushing. And remember, if you need to inhale, you can release for a sec, take a break. Check out what's happening when you're pushing. Are your shoulders all the way up towards your ears? Can you engage through your back so that your shoulders pull away from your ears and elbows draw towards your hip? Your abs are still working. You have all this space to breathe with your chest, to press the back of the head into the mat. If you want, you can even lift up here, lift the shoulders off of the mat at the very end, feel an extra burn. Ah, great. Moving on. Next up, we've got scissors with the leg tap. So our leg's going to drop down. Maybe it comes all the way towards the floor. You're going to lift up and tap your thigh between your legs, and they come back up towards the sky. tap. If you need to, you can do the same thing with bent knees. Let's go ahead and get started. So slightly easier is going to be with this bent knee, keeping your foot at a 90-degree angle, using your exhale to lift yourself up, and then either heel or toe, or tapping down towards the floor. Remember, if you want that extra challenge, you're working to bring that heel a little closer towards the floor. We're bringing our shoulders up off of the mat. So your eye gaze should go as your body lifts. You're not still looking at the ceiling. You're looking towards that thigh or knee that you're tapping behind. Take a break. I'm going to draw my knees in towards my chest for this break to really relax more of the back on the floor. You can give yourself some circles with your legs. So let's start to prepare to do it again. We're worth it. Send those legs back up towards the ceiling or into your reverse tabletop and then begin. Can you stay up for the full length of your exhale? So inhale, coming down, exhale, lifting up and holding for an extra second. And making sure that lower back is still glued towards the floor. So only bringing those feet as low as you can with that lower back towards the floor. And as you're starting to get tired, you can always take a break. You can always modify. Great. Next up, we've got plain old leg lifts. If you need to, you can bring your thumbs under your bum. Both legs are going to go down and up at the same time, or both legs are just going to tap down from tabletop. If you don't need your thumbs under your bum, get started. You can always take this extra challenge of even holding a weight up overhead. And maybe because you don't have your hands at the center line, you can't bring your heels as close towards the floor without your lower back lifting off of the mat. But challenge yourself here. What can you do with the body you have today? Also, what a treat, everyone. Did you see Uncle Buck is back on the couch with us? Take a break. I think he likes the living room because the air conditioning is better in here, but joke's on him because it turned the AC off during class. Gets real sweaty. All right, let's start to send those legs back up towards the ceiling. We got leg lifts. One more time, maybe you challenge yourself with these hands in the air and shoulders relax on the floor. Awesome. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And if you want that extra challenge, you can always lift your shoulders up off of the mat. I promise, though, as we start to move forward, we got a lot more moves with shoulders coming off the mat. We've only got a couple more minutes of ab work today. So if you can add in this challenge, even if it's just one rep and then you release back down, that's something. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, great. All right, what's next? What's next, Jessica, the torturer? All right, next up, we're going to go for an elbow to knee crunch. So, as promised, we're lifting shoulders up off the floor. You're either hanging out right here with this isometric holds, or you're also adding in an alternate elbow and knee, a little same-sided bird dog. So go ahead and begin either just holding here or finding a little bit of extension. I'm keeping my knee bent. I'm reaching arm up overhead. You can hold a weight. Ah, the ab burn right now. If this is too much for you, consider going back to just the isometric hold. We're so close. Oh, take a break. Next up, other side, other side. We're almost there, everyone. We got two more moves to go after this. You're here to challenge yourself, and I'm bringing it. I'm feeling it too. Let's do it together. right now. Here we go. So elbows to knee, chin is tucked towards chest. Find that extension. And maybe you're just tapping your heel down. Maybe you're even keeping your hands there and just tapping your toe down, getting a little of the lower ab work, as opposed to also pulling in a little bit more of the lats and upper body with this big overhead reach. I'm going to let you keep your back down on the floor for the next move. So let's do this right here, right now. We're so close. Woo! All right. Thumbs towards the bums. Go ahead, extend those legs out nice and long. We've got a flutter kick. So as low as you can to the ground or as high as you need to, pressing your lower back towards the floor and finding this flutter. Here we go. I think this is the hardest move that we're finishing with here. We got one more move to go after this. I personally think that this one is a little bit harder. You can keep your head on the floor, or you can challenge yourself to pick that head gently up off of the floor. We're more than halfway through. Woo! Oh my gosh. Oh, well-deserved break. Take some big, slow, deep breaths. We're going to do that one more time. Remember, you can always kick a little bit higher. Let's just move continuously. We can do it together. We're in it to win it. Open up that chest, press the back of the elbows into the floor. Send those legs up and start your kick. Maybe you even start high and you challenge yourself to just go a little bit lower until you start to feel your back coming up off of the floor. Remember, your abs are getting a little bit tired. So maybe you normally can flutter kick down here, but today you need to flutter kick here or all the way up here because you're just going to keep going. Work to find where you feel that challenge in your low abs. And remember, you can pick your shoulders up off the floor. We got less than 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Take a break. Oh my gosh, we got one more move. We're setting ourselves up for this last move. Okay, if you need to, you can have your feet down on the floor. We're using our weights if we brought them. Whoa, we're going for an overhead press, and then we're just gonna lay back, hands stay right by your chest, and sit yourself up. All right, so let's do that. So overhead press, and then lay back, sit yourself up. You want a little extra challenge? Feet come up off the floor, overhead press. Ooh, pardon me. Feet stay off the floor as you come on back, and then lift yourself up. And you keep your shoulders away from the ears, chest lifted. Try to take a lot of that rounding out of your low back. And if you notice that you're rounding, either put the weights down or put your feet down. Just keep going. Find a way to keep going. We got this. We got this. We got 40 seconds of more work to do. Take a break right now. Enjoy this 20 seconds to yourself. Ooh. Either just breathe or taking a couple of stretches. Last round starts in 3, 2, 1. Finding that overhead press and then coming back into your quick little hollow hold. Or remember, you can keep your feet on the floor. You don't even have to extend your legs out. You can just lower yourself down one vertebrae at a time, lift yourself up one vertebrae at a time, and then press up overhead. So we're trying not to use the weights to lift ourselves up and lower ourselves up. 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left. Just keep going. Do something. We did it. Yay. All right. Let's actually sit ourselves up. So roll yourself up into a seated position. You can be cross-legged. You can extend your legs out in front of you. Either bringing your hands to your knees or hands to the floor behind you. Pull your core in still and find a nice big lift. Shoulders stretching away from your ears. Chest is lifting up. Let's inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to come into a twist. So right hand comes towards the front, left hand comes behind you. You can have your right hands maybe on your left knee, maybe even out wide on your right knee if you're feeling really tight. Use your hand behind you like a kickstand to lift yourself up, draw your belly in, open your chest, and start to look over your left shoulder. So really work to create that big length before you find a twist. Getting a nice stretch in the hip here as well. Inhale, lift those arms up again. And exhale, twist to the opposite side. Press those fingers into the floor, hands on your knee or inner thigh or outer thigh, whatever you found. Lift your chest, draw your core in, and then twist through your shoulders. Turn your neck like you're drawing a line with your eyes across the room. Okay, so that's a good opportunity to get a quick sip of water. Great. Inhale, lift those arms up again. Exhale, hands come down forward in front of you. Just start to walk yourself forward. Come forward at first with a nice flat back. So maybe you just bring your fingers down towards the floor. Sit bones are still down on the floor. Upper back is engaged. So squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other and belly pulled in. You can stay right here. Maybe your hands are even still just on your knees to find this nice flat back. If it feels good, you can walk yourself forward. Oh, what a big stretch. And once you've hinged forward and your belly's coming towards your thighs, then if you want, you can also take some rounding down towards the floor. Great. With those hands forward, we're going to pull ourselves forward so you can press yourself up on your knees. Take a moment right here. Coming back into those cat-cows should feel so good. Start with a neutral tabletop, flat back, press into your hands, palms, elbow creases shine a little forward, and then let's lead with the hips. So hips take a big tilt and you come into whichever version felt good for you to start with. And then hips lead in the opposite direction as well. Let's get one more in each direction. Come on back through to your neutral tabletop. Once you have finished, walk your hands forward. We're going to shift hips forward, get a big stretch in that low belly as thighs come down towards the floor. If this is too big of a stretch for you, you can always come on down onto your belly and find a little mini cobra. And then let's go ahead, send your hips back towards your heels. Take a nice child's pose. We're going to go one more time from those, whichever worked for you. You can always shift forward and come back onto your bellies into a little mini cobra or sphinx, or come into that big up dog. So let's take a big inhale, shift the weight forward again, slinking forward, looking up. Oh, it feels so good. And then one more big exhale, send glutes back towards your heels. Take another moment right here in child's pose. So nice. Maybe lift your head up a little, slink, thread your left arm underneath of the right. Let's take a nice stretch into the shoulders. A little child's pose, thread the needle. Or if you want to lift up a little bit more, you're welcome to. Find what feels good for you. Take 3 more breaths. Also providing a little twist, a nice little stretch into the side of the body. After you finish that 3rd breath, pass back through your child's pose again. And then thread the needle in the opposite direction. Oh, that feels great. Remember, you can keep your hips on your heels. You can lift up a little bit, apply a little bit more pressure into that threaded arm. 2 more breaths. Really focusing on beginning to slow your exhale down, returning your breath and your heart rate to where we were when we got started. Awesome. Go ahead, bring both hands Back into child's pose. Walk them into the center line of the body. Tuck your toes under. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. One more time in down dog. Pedal through your heels. Take as generous of a bend as you need. Lower belly towards thighs. Walk your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands. Take a moment in your dangle. Go ahead, grab your opposite elbow, bringing belly towards thighs so knees are bent as generously as you need to get your upper and lower body to sandwich towards each other. And then engage your upper back, so squeeze shoulder blades together. Maybe your forearms come closer towards your face, but there's more room for your neck to make some circles. To make some circles in the opposite direction. Maybe hands come to your thighs to help you roll yourself up. One vertebrae at a time, stacking shoulders over hips, head over heart. Take a big inhale at the top. Arms come up overhead. Bring your palms together and then exhale. Bring your hands down to heart center with your thumbs touching on your chest in Anjali Mudra or Namaskar. Once again, round through your feet equally. Squeeze your glutes a little, hip forward. Shoulders relaxed away from your ears. Take a moment, tuck your chin to your chest. Take 3 deep breaths. Think of something that you can be grateful for today. Amazing. I hope perhaps you thought how grateful you were for creating this time for yourself and your movement because you're awesome for making it and showing up for yourself. Can't wait to see you again. Next up will be yin yoga. As always, if you have any particular aches, pains, or discomfort, let me know. I'll create a class just for you. It can be our little secret. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.